MJ and I have been to many, many, many concerts together over the years, starting in college.
Mhm.
Uh, for whatever her reason, I'll let her explain, she would not go see Bruce with me until 2016.
Oh,
So that was the first time that she saw him. And other than the Broadway show, that was the last time I saw him.
hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Set Listing Bruce, your podcast all about Bruce Springsteen, his music, and mostly his fans. I am your host, Jesse Jackson, and today we have another in our series of Friendship Month episodes. That's right. People that are separated by cities, counties, countries, states that have a bond through Bruce's friendship are joining me. And today we have MJ and Macreena. How do I say it?
Macreena.
Macreena. Okay,
Macreena.
great. Yes. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Jesse.
you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to hear your story. Uh, so and I'm gonna just I am from Louisiana, so my tongue is tied. So you're gonna keep correcting me, and I'm gonna get it right. But let's start with you, Macreena. Tell us a little about yourself.
Okay. All right. I am a retired university administrator. I live in Ogdensburg, New York, which is at the tiny northern tip of New York State on the St. Lawrence River. I can see Canada from my bedroom.
How fun.
And I met, yeah, sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Haven't been able to go there in a long time. Doesn't look like
Yes.
we're going to be able to go there for some time to come, but we'll get there eventually.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen Bruce in Canada many times. That's the closest place, actually, when
Mhm.
he's touring. Canada is actually closer for me than any place.
Okay.
I met MJ when we were both in high school. But when we went to college at Nazareth College in Rochester, New York, we wound up on the same floor as first year students. And that's when we really got to be friends.
Oh, how
And
fun.
we've been friends ever since. Close friends. And I won't say necessarily how many years ago that was, but Born to Run was a new album.
Very nice. Nice. All right.
So
yes.
you can do the math.
Yes, we can. Though my listeners often tell me we promised there would be no math on this podcast.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'm not sticking to that. So you
Yeah.
can do that math.
Yeah.
And
so MJ, tell us a little
I-
about yourself. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No. Oh, I was just going to say that. I have been a massive Bruce fan since 1984 when I first saw him. MJ and I have been to many, many, many concerts together over the years, starting in college.
Mhm.
And for whatever her reason, I'll let her explain, she would not go see Bruce with me until 2016.
Oh,
So that
how
was
funny.
that was the first time that she saw him, and other than the Broadway show, that was the last time I saw him. So we can talk about that experience, but anyway, that's that part of the story.
Oh, very nice. So MJ, tell us a little about yourself.
So I currently live in Delaware, so quite a ways away from Macreena and my, home state of New York now. But we met in like high school through a mutual friend of ours. I was actually born in the same town that Macreena lives in now, and our family moved about 30 miles away. But my parents and several families in Ogdensburg remained friends over the years, and I met Macreena through one of our mutual friends. And we did become kind of blood sisters in college, united partly in our mutual hate for our RA on the floor who used to play Born to Run at pain level. And we're like, I like that music, but I can't stand her. And she would just blast this album like on repeat. And so that was my first like searing memory of Bruce, because it was associated with this, you know, this seminal year, freshman year in college, and all the things that you go through. And we didn't like her, and she kept blasting this music out of her room.
So I love that this idea, even though you may have liked the music, it is an actual tactile reminder of this horrible person.
Yeah.
You know, of course, I would go, she can't be all bad if she liked Born to Run, but I wasn't there under her, right? So
well, there were a couple of other albums that she would play at pain level too.
Yes.
I recall, I mean, I definitely recall Frampton Comes Alive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Constantly, almost constantly. And there might have been one or two others that, you know, so it wasn't just Bruce.
So
but yeah, it was bad.
So I graduated high school in 1977. So I am, you know, I am of your vintage, shall we say. And
you are.
And I remember you know, everyone bought Frampton Comes Alive, right?
Yep.
And that,
like they say in Wayne's World, it was issued to you if you were in the suburbs.
Yes, exactly. And I can only imagine when you're trying to study or talk or just visit, hearing that long voice box where him doing, do you feel the things again? Yes. Like, shut up. Yeah. Shut up.
Do you feel what I feel?
Yes.
I'm feeling it, buddy.
Yes, I am. Oh, that's wonderful. I now will, anytime I hear Frampton Comes Alive, I will think of this. I will think of you two, you know, Macreena.
I later met Peter Frampton one time.
Oh, you did?
I did. I met Peter Frampton one time. I don't know if you recall, Jesse, but I talked to you about my working with Clint Black.
Yes.
When I did your podcast. One time when I was in Nashville, we went to a warehouse where Clint stored a lot of like the set pieces and things that he needed for his various tours. And we went there to pick up some stuff, and we heard this incredible guitar music being played.
Yeah.
There was a recording studio at the warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were in and out of the warehouse a few times, and this guy was standing outside smoking. And I asked him, I said, you know, who's that guy? It's whoever's playing the guitar sounds fantastic. And he said, oh, he was kidding around. He said, oh, I don't know, some British guy. It's pretty good, I guess. And we sort of laughed, and we kept going in and out. And the next time that we went out, oh, there's the British guy, Peter Frampton, standing there. That's who was recording that day. So yes, we had a little chat. It was quite nice.
Did you share with him that the bad
I did not. No, I did not tell him that I you know, had that experience. No, I thought it was better he didn't know.
You are a better person than I, because I don't know if I could have resisted sharing that story. So, you know, this has nothing to do with Bruce, but one of my favorite moments in the TV series Madam Secretary is, and I don't know if either one of you watched the show.
Yeah, I did.
But there is a scene where it's the main character and her husband's wedding anniversary, and their daughter is trying to plan a party, and Tia Leone keeps talking about her character, that their song was Peter Frampton's, you know, and she keeps talking about she loves Peter Frampton. At the very end of the episode, Peter Frampton shows up to sing to her. And it was just such a great moment that I was like, how funny. Yeah, so that's pretty
great.
Funny.
I like that.
Yeah, just some British guy that, he's decent. He's okay. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, he was okay. Yeah, it's all right, I guess.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's funny.
that's really good. That's really good. Well, so let's just get right to it. So MJ, why the reason is it the pain of the RA is the reason why you never went to a Springsteen show with her? Was it just too painful?
No, so it wasn't a conscious decision to avoid seeing Bruce at all. I always liked his music and, followed him. And as he rose to, incredible heights of popular music fame and rock god status with the general population, I enjoyed that as much as anybody. I think just because I was living in a different place than Macreena, we didn't live close together, and trying to just sort out my work requirements and travel and all that kind of thing. And when concerts were coming up, I just was, I guess there was always something that was in the way of kind of making things come together. And so like Macreena and I went to a lot of concerts together. She was saying like my first, I think it was yours too, Doyle. First concert was Jimmy Buffett and the Eagles in Rochester. That was my
Yes.
first big concert for sure. Now you think back,
77.
you're
This
like,
is
that was
great.
a
You'll
great,
appreciate this.
that was
That's
a
a
great
great
first
double
concert.
bill. Yeah.
Jesse. Well, you'll appreciate this, Jesse. It was 77. It was Hotel California.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is the part I always tell people. This guy comes out, and everybody's like, yeah, who's this Mo that's out there singing, And it was just a guy with a guitar pretty much,
Mhm.
And he's singing, and no, that's kind of a good song. Yeah, I don't mind that. Yeah, that's pretty good. Then he sang Come Monday.
Yes.
And we were
They were
like,
like,
oh,
that's
that
it.
guy, yeah.
the
Oh.
Come Monday guy.
Oh.
Right.
Okay, all right. And then he said, I have an album coming out next week, and this is the first single off it. And I believe it was the last time in recorded history that there were 30,000 people together in a room who had never heard the song Margaritaville.
Right.
So we all,
Yeah.
that was the first time we heard it. And it was like, oh my God, what a great song. So now, I mean, everybody knows that song. Literally everyone knows that
Yes.
song.
Mhm.
So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But I've been, there's probably not very much overlap between Bruce fans and Jimmy Buffett fans, but I've been a Jimmy Buffett fan all this time too. I still really like a lot of his music, not all of it, but a lot of it. And I've seen him a couple of other times too. So yeah. But the Eagles, and I know that you were going to go see the Eagles last year, right?
I was, and I'm sad. I've never seen Jimmy, even though he comes every summer to Dallas. I just never have taken the time. Coconut Telegraph is one of my favorite CDs. It's
a fantastic record, isn't it? It really is. I really like his early stuff. I haven't liked much of the newer stuff that he's done. He's done some that I liked. Actually, I just saw this little anecdote online yesterday that he was off on a boat somewhere in 77 and called his record label in LA to ask if he still had a job because his records had not been doing well. And they said, yes, you still have a job. And the album Changes in Latitudes, Changes in Attitudes was coming out. And he thought that was the first single. And they informed him, no, we're going to do another single instead. And he was angry. And then they informed him, well, you can be angry, but the single is already at 29 and climbing. So he was like, okay, all right, then I guess that's okay. The single, of course, was Margaritaville.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So, maybe once in a while, trust somebody else's judgment.
Yeah,
Maybe, I don't know.
Sometimes the suits do know what they're doing, right?
Once in a while, it happens.
Every while. Yeah. I know one of the things that stick to is it was on 60 Minutes or something where Jimmy Buffett talked about making pancakes for his kids. and he said he had seen an interview that Springsteen had made pancakes for his kids, and he said, that's
Right.
what we're dads making at home.
Yeah.
We're just the guy who makes pancakes. We aren't rock stars.
Right. Right.
So
Well, and that was one of the things that I bonded with Clint Black over, actually. He's a huge Jimmy Buffett fan.
Okay.
Huge. And at one point, Jimmy's longtime harmonica player left the band, and he was about to go on tour, and they were panicking. And Jimmy's wife actually got on Clint's website that I was running at the time.
Yeah.
And she figured out that Clint had they had written a song together and met, and, she figured out that a lot of the dates that Jimmy was doing, Clint was free.
Okay.
So he called him and asked him, would you join us when you can this summer to play harmonica and, be in the band? You can do your songs too. I think it'd be great for the two audiences. And so he did. He got to go on tour with Jimmy one summer. And I went to one of those shows. It was, for me, that was just fabulous.
Oh, I bet.
It was
That's
really,
great.
really fun. Yeah. So that was one of the things that Clint and I really bonded over, was our shared appreciation of some of Jimmy's music.
Very nice. So that's a great show. So anyway, do you have memories of other shows you guys have gone together, MJ?
It's hard to kind of recall specific ones because we went to so many.
I bet.
So Bonnie Raitt was great. We've gone to the Neville Brothers quite a few times together because we both really love the Neville Brothers.
One of my highlights when I talk about live shows is the Neville Brothers opened, Linda Ronstadt then played, and Aaron came and did, this was during that era.
Wow. Yeah.
That was a absolutely great show.
That would have been fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Because I love the Neville Brothers too.
Yeah, we saw the Neville Brothers many times. I told you, Jesse, that I've been to Jazz Fest. MJ and I went to Jazz Fest a couple of times. We didn't see the Neville Brothers at Jazz Fest. We saw them in a concert at night, with Los Lobos opening.
Who opened Macreena?
Los Lobos.
Oh, right. Yeah.
When we saw Bonnie Raitt, Chris Isaac opened. Yeah. That was fabulous. I love Chris Isaac. We saw Clint many times together before I started working for him. We saw some other country music concerts. I know we saw Dwight Yoakam a bunch of times.
Yeah.
We saw Alan Jackson a few times. I think, we did see Alan Jackson. I'm trying to think. We might have we went to a couple like country festivals sort of where we saw a whole bunch of people. So I remember that we saw like
Mary Chapin Carpenter. And Clint was in that one day.
And Clint and again, Dwight Yoakam. We saw I think Patty Loveless, Tanya Tucker, maybe Trisha Yearwood, a whole, there were these 2-day long festival kinds of things that we went to. Yeah.
So I ask this with all love in my heart. And this is better than you. So my wife, as I talked about, has done an Ironman. Her sister and a couple of friends, every time they get together, it is normally around a race or a bike rally. And I joke about, do you guys ever get together just to have dinner? Why is there always got to be a bike race or, a 10K or something? Do you guys get together just to share a break a meal together? Is it always over concerts?
No, we actually have done probably the most regular get-togethers we've had is our core group from college have gotten together. We did an every 2-year get-together in the 90s, and then as kids became old enough that all that stuff interfered. So I don't have kids. Macreena doesn't have kids, but a bunch of the other friends do.
Yeah.
And so that kind of went on a quiet phase, and then we rekindled that a few years ago. And so it was roughly every 2 years. We knew for sure everybody would see each other, and we'd spend a weekend together. So that would be fun.
Oh, that's nice.
Then we'd get together for in the last, 3-4 years, for concerts, for the Bruce, especially for Bruce. And so I'll get back to the reason why I started
Yes,
going to
please.
see Bruce, because that was kind of the beginning of your question, Jesse. Prince died
Okay.
in 2016, and I called Macreena and I said, okay, next time Bruce is playing, I have to go see him, because I'm afraid, I always wanted to see Prince and I missed him. And I said, I have got to go see Bruce, so get on it. So she found, a city where he was going to be playing, and it happened to be Philadelphia, which is about 20 miles up the road from our house.
Yeah.
And so it was September 6th, 2016, and it was about 1 million degrees out. It was at the baseball stadium in Philly.
Yeah.
So Macreena flew in. I picked her up. We went and had a nice Italian dinner in South Philly. And our waitress said, hey, you can leave your car here and just walk over to the stadium from here. People do that all the time. So we said, oh, great. Okay, we'll do that. So we did. We walked over and, saw all the Bruce fans coming in. And it turned out even that my CPA was there with her husband, and I didn't know it. I know,
Oh, how
we
funny.
never would talk about music. And afterwards I said, oh, the concert was great. She's like, we were there. So we were comparing notes about that. But it turned out to be physically very tiring for me, because it was so damn long.
Yeah. Yes.
And it turned out to be like, I think he started a little bit after 8, and it was like 11 at night. We could see the big clock behind the stage. And I turned to Macreena and I said, is this like about, wrapping up? She goes, nope. And it was another hour, and it turned out to be the longest concert he performed in the US ever.
So I've got to share the story coming up the next couple of weeks. Or no, I had already had the show, right, where we had a lady who is a teacher, and she talked about her student went to that show that night. It was his first show, and she said afterwards, they're not all this long. Okay, you got something
Right.
pretty special. But yes, it is.
Right.
That is so funny. I have some of those same regrets. I didn't see Tom Petty when he came here. Well, I just shared I had to see Jimmy Buffett. So that was one of the reasons why I was going to go see the Eagles. I was going
Yeah.
to see the Monkees. They were touring. Lily Hyatt, who's
Yeah.
the daughter of John Hyatt. I told Linda, I said, I can't just save my money to go see Bruce, because we don't know when he's going to tour. And there's these other musicians that we've never had a chance to see. And then I want to do it before they're gone. Right.
Right.
So,
Right. I just
and
remembered one time when MJ and I saw Clint in Philadelphia. We were lucky enough, Merle Haggard
Merle
opened.
Haggard opened.
So we got to see Merle
Yeah.
Haggard.
Yeah.
So I was really, because he was fantastic.
Yeah.
And, when he passed, I felt so grateful that I had that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have shared my dad was a huge Merle Haggard fan, and in a lot of ways, I felt like I lost my father again when I heard that Merle Haggard died. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that would be really nice. It's kind of we've talked a lot about it, but I'll see you in my dreams. From Letter
Yeah.
to You really is about that experience,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
and I've shared that I've quoted Land of Hope and Dreams at a couple of funerals, and I never thought I'd want another song, but I'll See You in My Dreams is pretty close to something
Mm-hmm.
that's really beautiful about those that have passed on, that
Mm-hmm.
we remember always.
It
Yeah.
really is. And, I had a close friend who died in the World Trade Center on September 11th.
Mm.
So, it's just some of those songs, and Terry's song also
Yes.
is another one that really makes me think about the people that we've lost and how well Bruce articulates that. And it's so, it is so strange because you literally do see those people in your dreams. You
Yes.
literally do. And I guess I never thought that much about it before, but that song does just, encapsulate that experience so well. And it's a great comfort when
Yes.
you lose somebody to say, well, I'll see you in my dreams.
Yes.
It's extremely comforting because you literally will.
Yeah.
And his ability to take those universal feelings and just sort of drill down on them so that it's something that we all feel.
And to do it with different tempo in Ghosts. You
Yes.
you come in my dreams and
Yeah.
I rejoice. That
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
But it's a
Exactly.
hard
Yeah.
rocking song,
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had the opportunity to talk with, successful songwriters about songwriting, and some of them I've read before that rock music is about experiences, but country music is about the details.
Okay. Yes.
So like rock and roll is I picked up my girl and we went out dancing, where country music is I got in my red Ford pickup, drove to Ernie's Ice House, picked up my girl Sally, and we listened to, the Farmhouse 5 or something and whether or not that's true, one of the things that a songwriter said to me one time is that he had found that the more detailed he made the song, somehow the more universal people felt it was. And I think about that a lot with Bruce, because obviously writing about his personal experiences, but they're things that we've all experienced too, no matter how detailed he gets about it.
It really is. And, I love the Ken Burns country music documentary, and, and the cliche, right? 3 chords and the truth.
Right.
And I feel like part of the genius of great musicians is the truth. And I've shared this a couple of times. Jason Isbell's new album has a song, "It Gets Easier," and it's specifically about his fight with addiction. But in my mind, I think all of us we all have things we're struggling with. It gets easier, but it's never easy. And and that universal truth is there and shares. Now, MJ, were you able to go to Broadway?
Oh yeah, I'm the Broadway friend that
Okay.
Macreena talked to you about. Oh
Okay.
Yeah, we went twice.
We went twice.
As the way the lottery thing sort of worked is that, it was basically a lottery to get the tickets.
Sure.
So Mary Jo and I made a pact,
Yes.
if she got in, then I would get the other ticket. If I got in, she would get the other ticket. So the way that it worked, she got in.
We waited for, are we going to get in or not? And here's me never having bought a ticket on Ticket, Master or any of those services to see Bruce. Yeah. Macreena's bought, a billion of them. And I figured that's going to be some kind of algorithm factor that if somebody's, been a proven Bruce, right, concert goer, they would get preference. No, I get the code and Macreena doesn't. And so I'm like, oh my God, I got that. So I called her up and I said, oh my God, I got the code. And she's like, oh my God. So we were just very nervously online together, trying to pick our seats. And we got the best ones we could. And we had decided ahead of time, budget's not an issue because it would be a once in a lifetime experience.
Sure, absolutely.
And so we got, I think, row 4 and in January of 2018, and so we were just dying of excitement and dying.
And then And then the show got extended
Yeah.
after that.
Right.
And then I got in the next time.
And then Macreena got the code next time.
Yeah.
Yep. So I got the code the next time. So we went again in 2018 right at the end of May, beginning of June. I
Okay.
think we saw Bruce on May 31st.
Yeah, it was like Memorial
2018.
Day
So yeah,
weekend,
so
I
we
think.
got to go twice. And that time it was, when Mary Jo got the tickets, it was like, third or fourth row over on the side. So we were right in front of the piano bench.
Okay, nice.
And then when I got the tickets, we got second row center. So we were right in front of the mic
Wow.
stand.
Nice.
So boy, yeah, it was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
really good. I think it's wonderful that you guys have stayed friends for this long and stayed connected this long. And it's very clear listening to you talk, this lovely friendship that you guys have. And you know, one of my favorite things about when you have real friends, you know, I have a couple that I have not seen maybe in 2 years, but if we end up getting in a room together, it's like we just saw each other last week. There is no awkwardness. There's just, you may be telling a lot of stories and catching up, but there is that togetherness and casualness. And I think that's just really wonderful to see.
Thanks, Jesse.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, thank you.
in addition to concerts, we were smart enough to go on a fantastic trip to Italy in 2019, just before the floods happened in Venice and just before COVID hit.
Oh, tell me about that.
Yeah, so Macreena and I and our other good friend, who was my last roommate in college, Sarah, the three of us at the end of our last group gathering kind of had a side discussion like, Macreena said, Sarah and I want to go to Italy. Do you want to come? I'm like, yes. So we're like, all right. So we extended it to Sarah's husband, who we really like. And because it would make an even 4 and make it easier for hotel rooms and all that kind of thing. So we had a Northern Italy guided tour with a group of 16 people. And it was fantastic. We just had to kind of pack our bag and be at the bus at a certain time. And they took us wherever and led us and educated us and gave us great food and beautiful sights and all these different parts of Northern Italy. And it seems like a million years ago, doesn't it now, Macreena? I mean,
yes, it really does.
But it was a little over a year
really
ago,
does.
but it seems like a long time ago with all the changes since then.
So
yeah.
You know, MJ and Macreena, what's funny is I had an episode that will now have been out, but I had 4 friends, you know, talking, and 2 of them had been at Light of Day at the beginning of 20, right? Whenever I'm drawing a blank now, but it was like January or February of 2020, right?
Yeah.
They were there at Light of Day together, and they mentioned Little Did We Know, right?
Right.
And I talked about on February 12th, my son had turned 31 on February 10th. And so to celebrate, we had bought Dallas Maverick tickets, and we had gone to the sporting event here in Dallas, you know, and it's February 12th, and we're, you know, there's an arena filled with people, and we're laughing and joking, and we had no idea, right? So you guys are in Northern Italy talking about, oh, we should do this again. Where are we going to go next? With no thought of what was coming.
Yeah.
None. No,
I mean, the worst was like, we got home in the end of October, and I think it was early mid-November. These terrible floods hit Venice, and we had finished our
it was
trip in Venice.
literally 3 weeks after we were there. It was 3 exact weeks, and I'm watching on the news the exact spots where we had stood.
Yeah,
you know, 6
People are
feet
in
underwater.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
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 So-
And then, of course, it was just a matter of months after that. And of course, Italy was one of the first places very, very, very hard hit. So we're, you know, looking at all of these, you know, statistics of how many people had died, and we couldn't help wondering about the woman who was our tour guide.
Yeah.
and,
Absolutely.
wondering, she was probably out of a job and wondering about her family and all of those things. It was really, yeah, little did we know
And like
is
we
sum it
saw
up.
busload after busload after busload in the different locations we were of Chinese tourists.
Mhm.
Mhm,
And,
mhm.
when we heard Italy was hit in northern Italy, and I said to Macreena, I bet you it's this huge number of Chinese tourists coming into that part of Italy that,
Yeah.
brought the virus and nobody knew it even existed at the point, at that point. So, gosh, yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
who would have predicted any of this stuff?
No, we wouldn't have. Um, how are you guys doing during COVID?
I'm doing fine.
Okay.
So I'm semi-retired.
Okay.
So I have a healthcare market research business,
Okay.
and so it's just me now. My other partners have retired or gone on to something else, and so I continue to do work that I feel like doing, with clients that I like to work
Hmm.
with. And I've been working from my home office for a couple of years already, so it doesn't feel that different to me to be kind of
Okay.
doing my project work, but we don't go anywhere. So my husband is he travels for his work, but not too much. And it's just him and me, and we're kind of you know just doing what we're supposed to do to try to avoid getting this horrible virus. But
Yeah.
it's strange. It definitely is strange, that's for
A-
sure.
absolutely. Um,
Yeah.
go ahead, McCree.
Oh, it in some ways it isn't that different for me because I'm retired. So I wasn't going to work or anything like
Hmm.
that. But missing travel and missing the worst thing, I've read several things that say that some of the best things about going on a trip is the planning and the anticipation,
Right.
that's a part of what makes it enjoyable. And that's been really hard. Not only that we can't go anywhere, but we can't even plan.
Yeah.
You can't even make any plans to go anywhere because you have no idea when you'll be able to do that. So
Well,
that's
we had
been
planned to go
tough.
see James Taylor and Bonnie Raitt in Ottawa, Canada,
Mm.
in April last year. So we had our tickets. Macreena said, "Do you want to go?" I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds great. I'll come up to my old stomping grounds, and we'll go to the concert." And I think in mid-February, I said that concert's not going to happen. We're there. I bet they're going to just cancel it or something. So right now, I think it's for September of this year. They
Hmm.
rescheduled that,
Yeah, it was
right?
postponed to September of 2020
Yeah.
and then postponed to September of 2021.
Yeah.
Same with concert in Nashville that I was planning to go to see Clint.
Yeah.
Exactly the same schedule got postponed twice and is now supposed to happen in September of 2021, but who knows whether it will
Mm-hmm.
or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is this the longest it's been with you guys not seeing each other in person?
Probably not
No.
really.
Probably not.
Okay.
No.
No.
So this is
No.
y'all's one of those friendships that may go for a while, and then you guys will go through and see some stuff together. So okay,
Yeah,
that's
we
good.
we email each other pretty much every day.
Yeah.
Just chit chat online all the time, and so
Mhm.
I feel connected to Macreena really. Pretty much every day, every couple days, we're doing some kind of exchange.
Yeah, I can tell
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, we email or text pretty much every day. So it feels like we talk every
Mm-hmm.
day, whether
Yeah.
we
Mm-hmm.
actually pick up the phone and talk, which we do rarely for some reason. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And
That's good.
often I'll send her, so I'll even see, for example, that she's already liked something on Instagram or on Twitter, and I'll still
Yeah.
send it to her with a comment about Bruce or
Absolutely.
other people that we like.
Yes. Yeah. Did you both get to see Bruce do Land of Hope and Dreams for
Oh,
the inaugural?
yes.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes, that was
Yes,
awesome.
indeed.
They had
That was
such great
really,
visuals for that too, with the Lincoln Memorial. That was awesome. Yeah.
I just finished talking to Ian Braisby from the UK, and he says I could have swore I saw Lincoln's foot tapping.
oh, that's great. I
Yeah,
love that. I love
yeah,
that.
I
That
did too.
song just seemed so perfect for the times that we're in. That day, I had gone to the gym and I listened to it while I was exercising. And then I wasn't able to listen to all of Bruce's radio show
Okay.
that day, but I heard part of it. And he was going on a bit of a little diatribe about things as they are.
Yes.
And then right after that, he said, and here's Land of Hope and Dreams. And I
Yeah.
thought, obviously that's just so perfect for these times. And then when that started off the show that night, I just thought there couldn't have been a better choice. It really was so perfect. And of course, on my Twitter account, I tweet out a few lines of Bruce every day. And I had chosen some lines from Land of Hope and Dreams that day, that morning, because it just seemed so fitting.
So
And
it's weird.
it was great.
It's weird because I knew I was excited he was performing, because when they first announced, it was like Demi Lovato, et cetera, and no Bruce. And I said to Macreena, is Bruce going to join, do you think? And she's like, well, let's see. So then the next day they announced he was going to be added. And that day I thought, I bet you Bruce is going to do Land of Hope and Dreams tonight.
Yeah.
And I hadn't followed anything on, I didn't see any like snippets of anything about he's going to be performing. It was like, I bet that's his song. That would be the song for him to do. And it was.
So what was funny to me is Land of Hope and Dreams is my favorite Springsteen song, followed by Better Days. And so when they go, here's Justin Timberlake and Ant Clemens performing Better Days, I went, what? What? And then, of course, it wasn't Springsteen's Better Days. No, it wasn't. But just for half a second, I went, what?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Actually, another friend had emailed me during the day and said, actually, it was right before the show started. And she said, any intelligence on what Bruce is going to sing tonight? And I said, nope, no idea. I have no idea. I guess we'll see in a couple of minutes. And then the show started, and I said, well, there's your answer, and she was like, yeah, great choice. And then of course, then I got about, I don't know, 5 or 6 messages from people saying, this made me feel great. People saying, oh, as soon as I saw him, I thought of you, Macreena.
Yes.
Oh, good. Yes. I like that when people see Bruce, they think of me, that they associate the two of us. Isn't that lovely? I like that.
Absolutely. I do. I think that's great. So what have I not asked you, especially you, MJ, because this is your first time joining me, but you too, Macreena, that I should have asked about y'all's friendship?
I think you've kind of hit on all the main components. Okay. I think, as I've kind of immersed myself in learning more about some of the less well-known work that Bruce has done enjoyably over the past few years, and reading his, autobiography and kind of seeing the cycles of his life and his ups and downs, or his like more productive and less productive periods, etc. In a way, it kind of echoes our friendship, I think, Macreena, because we spent so much time together in college for those years, and right after. And then I moved away from the North Country to New York City for a while, and then to Delaware. So just the physical distance was, a factor, and we weren't in touch quite as much. Then I got married, got busier with my work and all that kind of stuff. So, life just sort of comes in, and we had sort of a lull, where we weren't in touch, but it wasn't that same level of frequent connection.
Hmm.
And I feel like Bruce was a great excuse for us to re-up at
Sure.
that higher volume of connection. And it's really been great. It's really been a lot of fun, and it's been really meaningful to me. I think it has been to Macreena too, but I won't speak for her. She might be sick of me. I don't know. I woke her up the other
No,
night by mistake because I sent her a text message. So I had to feel bad about that.
no, 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 I'm not sick of you, MJ. I think everything that you say is right. It's been enjoyable for me. Jesse, I told you about the other friend of mine who took me to my first concert, and we're still friends. Oh, one thing
Yeah.
I did want to say about that is it is great that we're still friends for this long, but I think part of growing up in a small town um, kind of fosters
Yes.
that possibility, because I know people who grew up in more urban areas who don't have long standing friendships,
Yes.
whereas I am still friends with people that I met in kindergarten.
Oh, that's lovely.
um
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and one of them that I went to kindergarten with, her dad passed away probably about 10 years ago, and I was at his funeral, and I was speaking to somebody else there, and she said it just completely blows my mind that you've known her that long, because there's nobody in my life that I've known that long, and I never had really thought about that before,
Yeah.
but I have thought about it since, and I do think there's something about growing up in a small town, a small area that forms those connections. Um, so I just wanted to add that. But the other thing that I was going to say is the friend who brought me to that first concert, and then it just obviously had such a huge effect on me. And she said one time, and then it became your life's work. And I laughed, and she said, I'm not really kidding about that, and I don't mean it in any kind of joking way. It has been your life's work, Macreena, to study Bruce Springsteen and his work, and what there's nothing wrong with that. That's been a great way, for you to spend your life. And I think that's true, and I've come to sort of accept that in many ways it has been my life's work to do the reading and to do the studying and the listening and to put things together and figure out what meaning things have and things like that. So okay, and now that MJ went to that concert with me and sort of caught that bug, it's been very enjoyable for me to share that level of interest with her and have her ask me, well, what about, like, I never, like, maybe she will hear a song on the radio that she hasn't heard before, and she'll say, wow, I just heard this song, I never heard that one. What was, you know that it just struck me in this way, or I liked this part about it, or that lyric really hit me. And then to have somebody to discuss those things with, somebody that's a close friend that you can have those kinds of discussions with, it's been extremely enjoyable for me to have somebody to share that with.
And it's really fun because, I'll hear, so I'm, still, and with certain songs, I'll be like still in discovery mode. For example, some of the less well-known songs. And I'll say, oh my God, why did he say these words in this song? Or why do you think he did this? Or, in some of his television appearances over the past, COVID period, like, did you notice the bracelet that he had on was that's kind of stuff. So it's like those kind of funny details, and we'll just riff back and forth with each other. It's really fun.
That's really
It's sort
beautiful.
of like a hobby for me. It's more Macreena's life work, but it's a hobby for me,
You
to
know,
kind of study all these things with Bruce. But it's really fun.
when by far, I think if you're a parent, in a lot of ways, your legacy will always be your child and your family. But I do think that I've been blessed, kind of following on your discussion, doing this for going now. I'm starting my 6th year of podcast, and where I'm talking to Springsteen fans, and that I feel like in a lot of ways, that's not a bad legacy. If
Not at all.
people go that, hey, Jesse brought all of us fans together and let them share their story. So I totally agree, and that's a beautiful way. um,
Mhm.
this has been so much fun. But MJ, I don't know if Macreena warned you, but you got to answer the Mary question. So,
Oh. Okay,
so
go for it.
all right. So I end every episode with this, and so since you have not been on the show, um, Jay Armstrong is an honors English teacher. He just recently retired, but he is in the Philadelphia area, and every year his honors English class would break apart Thunder Road as a poem. They would look at all the lyrics, they would discuss the imagery and the themes that Bruce is exploring. They would often compare it to Robert Frost's poems. And at the end of the 2 days, he looks at his class and he says, okay, does Mary get in the car at the end of Thunder Road? So, MJ, what do you think?
Oh, yeah. No question.
Okay, very nice. I love the positivity.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Does anybody ever say no? Like, seriously?
Yes, about 40% of the people I ask say no.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
wow. They don't
And
know Mary very well, apparently.
well,
Are those 40%, just out of curiosity, what's the percentage of those 40% who are men?
Yeah.
um, so probably I would say maybe, and I haven't done a scientific, maybe 60% of the 40% are men.
Hmm.
We get a fair amount of, she insulted him. He insulted her. You're not a beauty. You're all right. No, I'm not getting in that car.
Oh,
Are you
what?
you're
No,
insane.
no.
Those people are insane.
That is crazy.
Every woman loves that line.
Yeah.
Every woman that I know loves that line. It's one of the things that makes Bruce completely endearing
Yes.
to women
Yes.
is to say you ain't a beauty, but hey, you're all right. Oh wow, I don't understand those people at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about that she's afraid to take a risk.
Okay, well that I would get.
Yeah.
And
That would
Yeah.
make sense. Yeah. But
yes,
not the beauty part.
yes. So I have many favorite stories, but I got to remember who did this because I talk about this in almost every episode. Um, one guest said that it depends if it's the full E Street Band with the majestic ending. She absolutely gets in the car because the instrumental sign off is this glorious them driving off together. When he does it solo, when he does the more silent, when he does the na 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 na, he's driving off by himself. And I said, I love that. I love that answer.
Yeah,
that's a great.
Yeah,
that's a
I
good
can
answer.
see that.
Yes.
I could see that. Yeah. That one makes a little bit more sense to me. But I'm sticking with my. I listened to the entire Western Stars album again just recently, and I'm sticking with what I said on your podcast, that the reason I love that record so much is that it's all of the same characters that he's been writing about since Born to Run.
Yeah.
It's all the same characters that were in Born to Run, Darkness, and The River. Those people were young when he wrote about them on those records. It's the same characters, but now they're older, and they got in those cars and they kept going and they kept going. Bruce talked about this just on his radio show just this week, that he put people in cars and to see where they were going, and they kept going and kept going and kept going until they couldn't go any further. And that's the West. That's California and Nashville and Tucson, and and that's where they ended up And they're still asking all the same questions that they asked on Born to Run and Darkness and the River.
You
They
know,
have all those same questions. They're the same characters, but they're older, and they're evaluating what that ride was all about, and what happened on that ride and what's happened since then. So I'm sticking with that.
no, I love that answer. And, someone said that Moonlight Motel is the end of Thunder Road, that he is
Yeah.
mourning Mary because she did get in the car. They did have a life together, and now then he's mourning her. And I go, well, if that's not the right answer, I don't want to argue because I think that's absolutely
Yeah.
beautiful. Uh,
I didn't interpret that she had died, but I did. But like I said, when he says it, then it's just, kids and bills and bills and kids.
yes,
That's the end of. That's a sequel to The River. That's a sequel
yes,
to, a lot of his songs. It's a sequel to, but then again, the sequel to Thunder Road is also The Promise. So
absolutely.
there's potentially a lot of sequels to Thunder Road.
If I know the reality, but in the reality, Bruce's sister has had a very successful marriage. But do you think the couple in the river would say they've had a successful marriage?
That for me, that's hard to answer because I know that story and I know it was based. So I think
Right.
it's his, I just think of
Yeah.
knowing that his sister and her husband have done well together over the years. So I would say yes, just because I can't really separate
Yeah.
those characters from the real story, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think that a lot, to me, the couple in the river are just one of a bunch of couples on that album and also
Yeah.
on Darkness.
Yeah.
And I think that, some of them probably stayed together. Some of them, they just couldn't, do it.
Yeah.
They just couldn't keep on. And, all of the economic problems that existed in the 80s,
Mhm.
I don't think some of those couples managed to make it through that.
Okay, good. All right. If someone wants to reach you, how can they? Or I know you're on social media, Macreena. How about you, MJ?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead and give your Twitter handle.
I don't have a personal one actually. I just
Okay.
have one for work, so I'm not
Okay.
going to give that out. But
Okay.
I would just say if somebody wanted to drop me an email, I'm fine with that. It's
Okay.
mjnewtown @hotmail.com.
Okay, great. Macreena?
And I'm at MacDNY on Twitter.
Very nice.
And
All
by the
right.
way, Jesse, I'm just
Yeah.
going to drop in real quick that I think Macreena is still using the picture at 10th Avenue and East Street
Yes.
on Twitter. I took that picture. of her.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. I love
Right.
that.
That was one of the group get-togethers. The last group
Yeah,
get-together
our last group
that we
get-together.
had actually was
We went to the
in
Jersey Shore.
2018. We all went to
2018.
the Jersey
Mhm.
Shore. So
Mhm.
we got to go to Belmar and take that photo. And we went actually, MJ and I went to a show at the Stone Pony.
Yep.
That night we
That
saw
night.
Danny Clinch and his band, and we
And
saw
Brandy Carlisle was a
Brandy
guest.
Carlisle,
Yep.
and Jack Johnson, and the Preservation Hall Band.
Oh,
at the
very
Stone
nice.
Pony.
Yeah.
Yep, and we took pictures at Madame Marie's. We were on the boardwalk. It was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds great. I love this. You guys have been such a wonderful discussion. I appreciate it so much. Do you have a picture of you two together you can send me for the podcast?
Oh, sure. We got some
Okay.
from Italy.
Yeah,
Okay.
we
for
must.
Good. All
There
right,
must
good.
be one from. I'm sure there's one from Italy.
From
Okay.
Italy, we got some good ones, I think.
All right,
Yeah.
perfect. All right.
Okay.
We're going to end with Now out here on this road, out on this road tonight, I close my eyes and feel so many friends around me in the early evening light. And the miles we have come and the battles won and lost are just so many rivers traveled, so many rivers crossed. And I ask God for the strength and faith in one another, because it's a good night for a ride. Cross this river to the other side, my blood sisters. Thank you for being on the
Love
show.
it.
Very nice.
Thank you,
Listeners,
Jesse. This was so much fun. So
this
much
was,
fun. I loved it.
I appreciate it. Listeners, you be safe. Remember to wash your hands. Remember to social distance. Wear an effing mask. Let's be good to each other, because that's the only way we're going to get through this. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
This podcast would not be possible without the love and support of my listeners and specifically my patrons. Thank you very much to Levi Petrie, Elizabeth Bronson, Stephen Malio, Holly Mack, Steve Rogers, Dale Hosick, Terry Smith, Anna Lynn, Chris Bloom, and Mary Thomas. Thank you all for your support. It is greatly appreciated.
You just heard the fun talking, hard rocking, music loving, album ranking, fan thinking, joy spreading, lyric reading, story sharing podcast that is the one, the only Set Listing Bruce. Set Listing Bruce is part of the Southgate Media podcast group. The theme for Set Listing Bruce was written by David Rosen, used by permission.